intense. So.
Okay, speaking of races, let's jump right in. Can you tell us what is the Solar Challenge?
The Solar Challenge, that's a project I've done last year. I've built a solar car and we raced 3,000 kilometers with 18 students all the way through the outback of Australia.
That's crazy.
And there are 40 teams all around the world and everyone comes in with their own solar car. So to me, I actually watched those races since I was a very little child.
Really?
And it's really Olympic Games of technology in my mind. Every country has their own solar car and is just trying to win.
It's been going on for a long time, hasn't it? I think since the
absolutely.
80s or something?
Since the 80s, yeah.
Amazing.
So how long have you been working on that car?
1 year.
1 year.
Or 1.5 actually, including the race. So I've done aerodynamics and then we optimized the shape of the solar car. And after that, producing the solar car, testing it, and a bit of strategy during the race as well.
Cool.
That's amazing. How many teams participate in that race?
40.
40. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's like a solar panel on wheels almost. Like.
Yes.
Can you talk us through what are some of the challenges involved in that? Because it sounds maybe simple to those who don't know, but it's all about getting the maximum efficiency you can out of pure solar energy, because you have no fuel on board, right?
Yeah,
I don't know if you can store any energy. Maybe you can store a little bit.
There's a battery as well.
There's a battery, okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
I think the biggest challenge is, of course, most people can finish the race, but the biggest challenge is to optimize it so you're the fastest.
Sure.
And then you really have to look into the gaps in the clouds and try to follow them.
Oh, wow.
Optimize
Looking at,
the
like,
speed for every
data.
part. Yeah.
Wow.
Depending on the wind, you also determine how fast you're going, and then you need to see, am I going to catch up with this cloud, for example, and waste more energy, or am I going to drive slower to save more energy for later? That was during the race, but we had many challenges during the year as well. There are many different disciplines, so aerodynamics wants to build a very small car, then mechanics say, I want a very big car. So it's also teamwork, communication, going from a computer design to actually building it, testing it, making everything work.
So how big is one of those solar cars? How big was your car?
It was around 3 meters long, 1.4 meters in width.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how heavy was it?
130 kilograms.
Wow. That is quite light.
And the driver is around 80, so it's really light.
Is it better driver a smaller one because you need them to be lighter in general?
Yeah, in general, yes. But up until 80 kilograms, you need to add weight.
Okay.
So if I would be the driver, I would get some weight. But in general, that would be advantage as well. You can place those weights a little bit more down, so the car is more stable.
Right. Because at that mass, 130 kilograms, wind would be a pretty important factor to consider, right? Like the crosswinds on long highways would be quite strong.
Yes.
How do you manage that?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, the wind itself, if it's constant, it's no problem.
Okay.
But the most terrifying part is if a road train, those are trucks with maybe 3 to 4 carriages, pass by.
Yeah.
So if they pass by, the wind is gone.
Yeah,
and then suddenly, at one moment when they are gone, the wind comes back. And that's when many solar cars get off the road.
Oh, God.
It happened to a German team, actually. So the challenge is then you really need to slow down at the right moment.
Wow.
And we have many cars driving in front as well to spot those trucks ahead, and they warn the solar car.
Did all teams make it to the end? Or did some cars break down?
Not all of them. If they don't make it, they need to trailer. So I think half of the cars didn't make it to the end at all.
Wow.
Incredible. How long did it take for your driver to complete the race?
5 days.
5 days?
Wow.
So what's the sleeping situation like?
Yeah.
So you just stop? Can you stop whenever you want? Or are there certain times a day where you're allowed to drive and then you just stop?
We drive from 8 to 5.
Okay.
And the thing is also we're driving through the outback. So there's nothing. We cannot stay in hotels or such. So we're basically having our own truck with our own camp.
Right.
And the strategist says, I want to stop in between this and this kilometer today. And then other cars go on scouting good camping places on where to build our camp. And it's quite a challenge. Well, it's super, there are many trees or like bush, and you cannot build a camp there. So you really need a big spot.
That's incredible. And you as a team, you were driving in a normal car behind or in front and were then waiting for your driver.
Yes,
to
indeed.
meet you there.
There are many cars driving along. 8 cars are, and every car has their per team.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
That's insane.
That's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Would you do it again, Nadine? Would you advise us to partake in a challenge like that?
if you haven't done it, 100%.
Mm.
A second year, I'm not sure. It's very intense year.
Okay.
And you learn a lot, but if you do it then the second time, it's not that exciting anymore, I think.
And you need to take a year off probably from whatever you're doing, be it uni or work related. Is very, very intense.
Absolutely, yeah. Sometimes they take old people, so alumni from previous teams on the race. That I actually would love to do.
Very cool. So what happens with the cars after the race?
After the race, so there's 1 year after the race that is improving the car and doing another race.
Okay.
That has been this month.
So you can re-enter the same car in another competition. Okay.
Yes,
Right.
in South Africa a month ago. They competed with our car again.
Incredible.
Wow.
And that was your team as well that competed?
No, a different team.
Same car though?
Same car, different team. And now there's also a new team and they're going to build a new car for next year. And then they use this car at events or they store it at a company. There are many partners as well. And if they're a good partner, they can get a solar car from us.
So cool.
That's so cool. I kind of want to have a solar car in my garage. It's very sustainable.
Me too.
It's very nice, you know, with the sunshines. In
Yeah.
Ireland, maybe not so much, but in other countries, amazing.
Yeah.
And your car made it all the way to the end.
Yes,
that's
absolutely. We ended
amazing.
even third out of all countries.
That's amazing. That's incredible. Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's awesome.
And can you tell us about the different schools of thought with the design of cars? Because I noticed that there's kind of the catamaran sort of design with like 2 holes, and then there's like this very narrow shape, and it seems to be those are the 2 main ones.
Yes,
Would you agree with that? And what are the advantages of either one of those?
That's absolutely true. So first we have catamaran. That's the car that we built. And it's asymmetric. So you have 2 wheels on the right, 1 wheel on the left. And the driver is sitting in between the 2 wheels on the right. And the advantage of that is mainly aerodynamic. So we think that the shape is faster than the other one. And the other shape is a bullet. Then you have 2 wheels in the front, 1 wheel in the back. And it's a very narrow car. It also looks like a bullet or a dart a little. And the advantage of that, we think it's easier to build while it's symmetric. But with aerodynamics, the catamaran can sail on the wind.
I see.
And the bullets, it's just small.
Yeah. And what are the things that you think about with regards to aerodynamics? What are the most important aspects to reduce the drag, I suppose, and just go as fast as possible with as little energy as possible? What are the most important aspects of that?
The most important, I think, especially making the car as small as possible. So you want to minimize the surface area of the total car. And also the aerodynamic shape. So our car consists of different airfoils. So it's the same shape as a wing from an aircraft. And we optimize those shapes into 3D. We tune those curvatures even up to 0.1 millimeter accuracy.
Wow.
To optimize the flow around it.
Wow. What made you want to partake in that race? Is it because you're into cars, into sustainability, into aerodynamics, into physics? Like what was the idea? What was the drive in participating in that race?
Actually, since I was a child, I watched those races on TV.
Okay. A long time fan.
Yeah, long
Instead
time
of cartoons,
ago.
you were watching
Yeah.
people racing across the Outback. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
and
incredible.
it was really like a dream. Like I saw this team from TU Delft and they were all wearing orange shirts. So I thought they were the Netherlands. And I was like, I want to represent my country and actually do something really cool.
You were rooting for TU Delft before you even went there. Is that the reason why you went to TU Delft?
No,
Okay.
not fully. Like when I had to seriously think about my study, I totally forgot about this.
Okay.
And then they opened up opportunity to get in the team. I was like, I really need to do that.
A dream come true.
Yes.
No brainer. That's very cool.
And these cars, they need to be roadworthy, right? Because as you said, they're on the road sharing it with these huge trucks. So they need to like pass tests, I suppose, to make sure that they're roadworthy. Is that right?
Yes.
And do they need to be able to indicate as well? Like, oh, I'm turning left or I'm turning right now? Is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
They need to be able to do that? Wow.
Yeah, so we need to have certain lights. We need to have a number plate.
No way.
And especially for aerodynamics, the number plate is something we really don't like.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a flat part in the back of the car.
So was it registered? Was it an Australian numbers plate?
Yes.
And you need a
But we
driver's
got
license to be the driver, I guess?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
So
Of
how
course.
fast do the cars go in average? Like, would other cars try to overtake the convoy of the solar cars?
It is 90 kilometers on average,
Okay.
but our top speed is 130 kilometers
That's
per
incredibly
hour.
Oh my God. Are you allowed to go that fast?
Yes, but if you drive 130, then
It's
you run out
dangerous.
of power very quickly.
I see. Okay.
What's the speed
90
limit on those highways in Australia?
Mostly 110.
Okay, 110.
Okay.
There was actually a car, I think 20 years ago, and then there was no maximum solar panel area requirement.
Okay.
So they put the whole car full with solar panels, actually old panels from the Hubble telescope.
That's
Ah.
interesting.
And they were continuously driving 110 kilometers per hour.
Wow.
And they even arrived before the finish was set up.
Wow, that is incredible.
Jesus.
And they
Space
stopped.
technology.
They stopped allowing that.
Yes,
Okay.
then the year after that they came up with maximum solar panel area, but
Yeah.
well, they didn't want that again.
Yeah, they're like, that's no fun.
Yeah.
That's not a race.
And these solar panels need to be curved, I guess, to wrap around the foil in a way. Yeah, is
Yes.
that a challenge as well? Did you work on the solar aspect, or was it more the aerodynamic efficiency?
Yeah,
You were
mainly
doing
with optimization aerodynamics, but I've done the production of the solar panel as well. And everything is also a collaboration. So aerodynamics always want many curves in the car.
Okay.
And then electrical people say, oh, we can't achieve this curve. So
Yeah.
then, for example, we want to double curve certain shapes. But the solar panel, you can only curve in one direction.
Right.
So imagine you're folding a paper, you can only fold it in this way, but you cannot fold it both in this way and in the other direction as well.
There'd be, warps in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then, yeah.
Interesting.
many design challenges.
Yeah. And how efficient are those solar panels? I know you mentioned it was on the Hubble telescope, so that'd be like gallium arsenide.
Yeah,
right?
that was many years
Okay.
ago, but
Okay.
since this year or some years before, they don't allow that anymore.
That kind of solar panel.
Yes.
Okay, so you're back
yes.
to silicon.
Yes, we're
Okay.
back to silicon, and there are
Okay.
also new developments going on
Yeah.
with other cells. It's
Yeah.
called perovskite.
Interesting.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Very
And yeah, and how efficient
There was a team
are
as
those?
well that had those cells. I think approximately 22 to 25%.
Okay, that's pretty good.
20%,
That's pretty
something.
amazing,
Yeah.
actually. Like that
Yeah.
much the solar energy shines on it. You convert that much into electrical energy,
Yes.
and then you convert that electrical into kinetic. I suppose. I wonder what's the efficiency there as well.
Phew, I don't have the numbers for that actually, but actually you prefer to have the energy going directly from the solar panel to the motor.
Cool.
And
yeah.
another way is to store it in the battery.
Yeah.
But then you have more losses if it bypasses
True.
via the battery.
Okay, that's so cool. Speaking about the battery, a question I've always had is, there'll be altitude differences, as I suppose, traveling 3,000 kilometers. Can you use like gravitational energy, like going down a hill, to save up energy? Because obviously you don't need to put as much into the motor if you're using gravity in that way. So you can like save energy as you're going downhill. Is that a big factor?
For our race, not.
Okay.
Well, the 3000 is pretty flat, but the race in South Africa, that just has been absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
So there were other teams having regenerative dampers as well. And then with every hump on the road, even they can
the suspension
get a vibration, yeah,
Okay.
and they get energy from that as well.
That's amazing.
Okay.